Hi guys, this is Tracy Newman from the Navigator's Tarot. I'm just going to check this. Yeah, it's got green light on. I'm so paranoid about these microphones lately. Anyway, okay, so I'm Tracy Newman from the Navigator's Tarot. You can find me on Instagram, and you can also find me on Sleepy Wisdom on YouTube. And yeah, without further ado, let's have a look. Let us have a look at what is going on with the masculine energies on the earth plane and within each and every single one of us at this time. We have the Temperance. Interesting, because we had that with the general reading as well, which was very masculine based, actually, I have to say, masculine energy based. Moving into, we'll have a look and see what the masculine energies are bringing on the earth plane and within each and every single, the King of Swords. Coming into a greater sense of truth about who he really is. Interesting. Walking away from things that no longer serve him. It's a very what's hidden is that there is this very deep energy that is pushing the masculine to find his way to the divine center of his, basically his essence and soul essence. Interesting. But we also have, but he has to, the masculine world at the moment is very tied in with the 3D masculine world. And at the moment, there's a great amount of stress on a lot of us because of the financial system that is literally crumbling and falling before our eyes. And it looks like a huge amount of pressure. But then, you know, the pressure builds and builds and builds until literally we can't take it anymore. And that's what's going to happen with the financial system. And it literally will crash and burn. But I feel like what's challenging for a lot of the masculine energies is that they're really starting to feel that pressure of not having enough financially and in that physical world, and feeling kind of like left out in the cold sometimes, but also too, it's a very kind of lack mindset, because the masculine is very tied into that 3D matrix world, which is, of course, literally about finances and ego. And so he doesn't know where he's going, really has no idea, he's got his swords up as well, so quite defensive in a way, not really knowing where he's going, but not really wanting to take the blindfold off. And in this card, like in the original card, he is literally tied and bound. But in this card, he is not. He literally holds those swords, across his chest. So he's literally saying, I'm quite defensive at the moment, but I can take these swords away from me if I need to, and I can take these blindfolds off. However, the masculine at this point in time is choosing not to do this. Kind of a little bit like a victim mentality in a way, but the masculine must go through this sense of not knowing who he is, like really needs to find that his, and this is why his literal world is crumbling and falling in the form of his finances and that lack mentality that the masculine has. So, but, we have in the environment here the King of Swords, and the King of Swords takes no prisoners, and the King of Swords actually knows the truth. The king is literally the divine in the form of a king. And like literally the divine is basically trying to show the masculine just where it is he needs to place those swords. He needs to take those swords, get out of the victim mentality, get out of that frock that he's in, and dress accordingly, and take the sword in hand and sit upon his throne and look very deeply at just how he can cut through all the bullshit and find the truth of who he really is upon the earth plane in this new world that we're moving into, which is not connected to anything that resembles the 3D matrix world. So yes, we have the star here. So there is his advice here. He is being asked to literally have hope. In the midst of difficulties, he will find that Hope is what he can find if he just goes within and finds the truth of who he really is. Looking without is not going to get the masculine anywhere. It will literally keep him chained and bound to that material world, which is only about keeping us chained and bound to ego, the devil, in the form of addictions and, gambling, all that sort of stuff, money, that type of thing, and an abuse of that. And he basically needs to find that hope within that will lead him out of that cave of doubt. But, he's still trying to get away with shit, He's still trying to take those swords and steal away. It's not going to work because, literally just isn't going to work. Yep, see, he does have options. He does have options. And these are probably options in love, really, for the masculine. But once again, he is trying to steal away from the truth of who he really is. And he's trying to actually, I guess, forego the awakening that must occur. He doesn't have a choice, but he will try to have his cake and eat it too. He does have options, but he's choosing not to look at them. This is the higher self coming through. And the Queen of Pentacles. Which is, the Queen of Pentacles, of course, is literally a woman who is very, very calm, assured, knows who she is, and is financially independent. And that is something that the masculine is kind of aspiring to. He looks up to her. And she is the higher part of himself too, that he sees and wants to actually, to encompass that sort of energy. But he's literally in this page here. It's interesting because we have all the swords. We have the King of Swords. We have the Queen of Swords. We have the Prince of Swords. So he's not going to be able to get away with it because the truth is going to hit him quite hard. And it will be the flat end of the sword that hits him and literally will send him pelting, down the road. So he's in for a rude awakening. The masculine energy still tied to the 3D matrix world will literally be in for a beating. But we do have the Chariot, so he will find his way out and he will gain control of his chariot and his movement forward. But, it's one step forward, one step back, and don't worry because we're all in this. When I talk about masculine energies, I'm talking about the energies, not the actual sex or whatever. It's not the gender. It's literally about energy. And a lot of the energy that we're seeing on this earth plane right now that we're tied into, that 3D matrix world, if we don't begin to allow the divine to actually show us the way out, we're going to be stuck in it for quite some time. And if you're in that greater amount of masculine energy at any given time, you're going to receive a bit of a beating. Don't worry, you will come out of it because we are moving into a greater sense of understanding and being able to, from that, and I literally am seeing another sword. The swords are literally about truth and honesty and understanding, cutting through bullshit. And that is what is going to happen with the masculine. And it will sometimes come in the form of a harsh lesson for the masculine before he will actually turn his life around. But he will, and he will become in control of his own destiny, and he will be autonomous and authentic to self and be able to get out of these 7 of Sword energies where he's trying to get away with shit. Can't can't get away with shit anymore. It just kind of doesn't work that way, you know? Oh, it may come in the form of illness for some. Yep, because I think the masculine has to learn that the 3D material world is not all that it's cracked up to be, and that basically your health is probably going to be more important than anything else. That's the currency of the 5D matrix, is literally good health, vitality. That will be our abundance. But look at this. We do have the Emperor energies coming in. So this is just a process that the masculine will have to go through. And we do have the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups. So he is going to come into, you know, I do feel that for a lot of the masculines, there is his divine feminine that he looks up to, that he is inspired by. And because the divine feminine is in a space of complete oneness with all that is, and happiness and joy, that is going to rub off on him. And he will literally turn away from the distractions and temptations of the 3D matrix world and turn to a higher sense of who he really is, and a higher sense in the form of the divine through the divine masculine energies. The ultimate divine masculine is, to me, Jesus Christ and Shiva. And so these are the divine masculine energies that I look up to. But he is the magician of his own world, and he will get through this. We all will. And moving into, yeah, so we got those cards again. So he needs to move towards love, away from the sense of lack and distraction and temptation, and have hope in the midst of his difficulties. He needs to look to his divine feminine for inspiration and unconditional love, so that he can find the truth of who he is in relation to the 5D matrix, which is completely different to the world that is crumbling around him. Is to take action on that at the moment. Now we have the Emperor energies, the divine energies coming through in the form of the Emperor. Right at this point in time, the masculine is going through a lot of his awakening, and he is just beginning, and it is really, really it is coming home through the Page and Knight energies. But he has nostalgia for the past, with a remembrance of his divinity, and he is going to move into a greater sense of joy and peace through the union with himself and another, and in the form of the divine masculine and divine feminine energies that have to come to balance within. Okay, so that's all I have for the masculine. I hope that makes sense, and I shall see you anon. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe, and I shall see you next week. Bye for now.